I remember when I was in my 30s having numbness in my toes. I used to run 6 miles every day in the hills of Portland. Okay, and my biggest problem always was my toes would start to be numb and hurt until they became completely numb, basically, and then they didn't bother me while I was running. Okay, just the ends of my toes. And I never really could explain that. I tried different kinds of shoes and, just put up with it for a long, long, long time.
About 10 or 12 years ago, I started noticing pins and needles in my feet, numbness, tingling, an inability to walk up steps, an inability to really do anything athletic. The first symptom I had was I had played tennis on a Saturday, and I woke up Sunday morning and my left ankle was very painful. And I wasn't really aware that I had twisted it while I was playing tennis, but I could barely step down on my left ankle.
Then his foot started feeling funny. I don't know exactly what. He would twist his ankle a lot, rotate it, and it was feeling funny to him. Then he started walking unsteadily. So he started using some aids to walk with. Maybe some prostate problems, because I think he was having some problems urinating.
Before Penny was diagnosed with APBD, we actually started a journey in 2000.
I think probably every other APBD patient, it was a long journey, and he wasn't initially diagnosed with this disease.
Penny had some hearing issues that just popped up. So went to an ENT doctor who had an MRI done, first one she'd ever had, expecting to find cancer. Instead, we had the radiologist call and say, she's got MS.
To make it short, we eventually ended up at a neurologist who misdiagnosed him with MS, even though he'd done all the typical tests that you do for MS, and nothing pointed toward that disease.
So after a couple of days, I went to an orthopedist. One said it was a pulled tendon, someone else said it was a sprain. I went to a second orthopedist several weeks later, and basically no one really knew what I had done.
We found out as this went along that radiologists will often make that error. The neurologists that understand MS well, the neurologist we went to said, I don't know what it is, but it's not MS.
And he wasn't initially diagnosed with this disease. And that's a big problem. People don't know about it. Physicians don't know about it. Neurologists who you would expect to be aware of this group of diseases, it seems to be foreign. Urologists, that's urological issues is one of the first symptoms.
Okay, so the timeline of when I first had symptoms, I would say it was approximately 4 years. I did end up, like I say, after about 4 years, when I ended up at the Mayo Clinic. That's when I found out about the APBD.
I contacted Dr. Schiffman and Dr. Mary Wallace, and they had me tested, and I was in fact positive.
After all this testing, genetic testing and blood testing, enzyme activity testing, was correctly diagnosed. And it was a relief, actually. It was frightening, but it was a relief to at least have a name for what was happening.
And even though finding out you have APBD is not necessarily a great thing to find out, for me it was more comforting to know what it was than wonder what's going on.
It's in the rare disease nomenclature, it's talked about a severe metabolic disease with significant neurological representation. It just sounded horrible to me. In fact, it's no different than what I've had for 12 plus years. It just has a name.
And if there was any possible way of helping And Dr. Schiffman was going through some clinical trials, and I thought better to find out now and maybe get involved in whatever I could to see if I could help with the course of where it goes. Does he?
Lovely up here, you and I have no fear. Stardust in our hair, we don't care. Must be love.